Welcome to the Encore Audio Archives YouTube channel. I'm Taper Dave, and this is my channel. I've uploaded hundreds of talks here that I've recorded at meetings in West LA, and I've also recorded conventions starting in 2013. I've got a bunch of those up. And Walt and Mary Murray, the original owners of Encore Audio Archives, started the company in the 80s, and Walt recorded Joe and Charlie's and a bunch of stuff down in Vista, California. My sobriety date is June 20th of 1994. I hope you find something you like, so please like and subscribe to my channel and comment down below. If you want to hear something that I don't have or that you don't see, I'll see that I get it. Anyways, take care and have a great day if you want to.
My name is David Wiss. I'm an alcoholic.
Hello, David.
And I'm also a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. And it's a wonderful thing to be a part. And I've also been able to diagnose my alcoholism with the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. And I stand here before you tonight, a grateful, recovered man. I'm grateful for my life today, just the way it is. And I'm grateful that there's a way out for people like me, for alcoholics of my variety. And I'm just grateful to be at the Roundup. Thank you, Jack, and the committee, and thank you. I've been getting fed here all weekend. I actually was able to attend the speaker last night, and I got goosebumps and I got tears. And I haven't experienced that for a while. It's almost kind of embarrassing. Someone asked me recently when the last time I cried, and I couldn't tell that person. And I was able to hear the music of AA last night and hear about amends and hear about sanity restoration and reunited homes, and the message really sunk in. And I absolutely love what I found here in AA, and I want to encourage everyone to find something here. What I know to be 100% true is that different things resonate with different people. And people come here with different needs, looking for different things. And what I know for sure is that I found something here that's very, very personal, very individual, very unique, and very significant. And I hold it very dear to my heart. I want to thank all my friends that are here, particularly those from the Fledgling Society Big Book Workshop, my brothers and sisters, people that read inventory to me, and my sponsor Roy, who I read inventory to. I love this way of life, and I want to acknowledge that to me AA is a way of life. It's a design for living. It's not a place that I go. It's not a person that I call. It is a design for living that works in rough going and it works in smooth going. It's not something that I do when I'm having a bad day. It's not something that I go to a place where I go to share when I'm not doing so well. It really is a way of life, and it works really, really well for alcoholics like me, for dope fiends like me, for people that have dysfunctional brain circuitry, right? That need a little. I need some kind of something all the time, right? I need a little drink. I need a little nicotine. I need a little sugar. I'm the kind of guy. I need a little something all the time. You know, and there's a way out. It says in our literature that by way of spiritual experience, we can experience a psychic change, and our brains can be different. And based on that place, I can be able to sit and just be okay, and not need a little something. To be able to just coexist in harmony with the universe. To be able to be home on a Friday night and be doing nothing. Not need a energy drink. Not need a phone, not need a like, to be able to just sit at home, to be able to just sit at home and just be still. And I'll tell you, I've been here since September 13th, 2006, and different things have resonated with me over the years. But I'll tell you, the one thing that really, really called me was when someone described being able to be at perfect peace and ease and be able to be alone and just be. That's all I ever wanted. I just wanted to be able to just be. Because left to me, I get this feeling where I'm really uncomfortable, and you know that feeling where life seems impossible, where your problems start to pile up on you and become astonishingly difficult to solve. that feeling where you got quicksand stretching around you in all directions. I used to, I like the effect that alcohol produces, but the truth is I really just can't stand the effect that I produce. The effect that Dave produces is really uncomfortable, right? So I found myself engaging with substances at a very young age. You know, on my dad's side of the family, they're all normal people, no prime specimens, right? No mental health issues, healthy people. But on my mom's side, everyone had either addiction, alcoholism, or some kind of food-related dysfunction. And what's interesting is we now know that some of the same circuits in the brain are related to alcohol and drugs and are related to food. And I've had a blast, like, getting into science, getting into addiction, getting into alcoholism, finding out the truth about my condition, finding out the truth about what I suffer from, finding out, like, what is 100% true for me. And I know who I am today, and I know who I'm not, you know, and I'm able to speak on it. I started getting loaded when I was 12, and I'm what the book calls an able, intelligent, and friendly person. They told me I had a high IQ when I was young. They told me that I was highly gifted. They put me in magnet programs. And when I was able to get high and still get straight A's, I gave birth to this illusion that I was this kind of connoisseur, expert, that I had found my calling in life, and that other people needed to learn, you know, how to get loaded from someone like me. So I was the guy that was, like, you know, teaching other people how to drink, teaching other people how to smoke weed. It was like my first real calling, you know. I mean, I was good at math when I was a kid, but that didn't really get me too much by way of popularity. I was good at chess too, but that didn't do much for me. But yeah, I found this counterculture. I found music culture, rap culture, rave culture. I found alcohol. I found drugs, and I was home. You know, that was it for me. I went to my first rave in the late 90s. I'll never forget that feeling of connection that I had with my peers. You know, something about being up for 3 days at a time. It really works. You know, like that first night all the way through is uncomfortable, and like day 2, there's some weird stuff going on. But by the time you get to day 3 and 4, there's like a peace about it, right? And I like to experiment with different things, and I found out something about myself is that I like things that are very highly concentrated. I like things that are very, very pure, right? I get to a place, right, where beer doesn't really do it for me anymore. I need hard liquor, right? Where Vicodin doesn't do it for me anymore. I need OxyContin. I need things that are very, very, very pure, very concentrated, highly concentrated byproducts of substances. And this is the concept of me developing somewhat of a tolerance over time where I need a lot more. What's interesting about that for me is that I still subscribe to that theory today. I like things that are very, very concentrated. And that's why I like the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. You know, it's a very, very, very concentrated, very pure, very heavy message, and it's heavy on the message of God, and it resonates with me. There's a lot of different literature in AA. There's the light blue book, and there's the yellow one, and there's all these different books. But the original text, the original Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous from 1939, it's very, very concentrated and very pure, and it hits me hard. It hits me real hard. So I developed this very peculiar mental twist. I developed strange mental blank spots, and I developed illusions and delusions around who I was. I was able to get into a university, and all bets were off for me. By age 17, I was a goner. But I pulled some things off, right? I did lead that double life that the book talks about. I want to read one thing.
There it is.
We're in the 5th step in our workshop, and this thing really resonates with me. It says, more than most people, the alcoholic leads a double life. He is very much the actor. To the outer world, he presents his stage character. This is the one he likes his fellows to see. He wants to enjoy a certain reputation, but knows in his heart he doesn't deserve it. The inconsistency is made worse by the things he does on his sprees. Coming to his senses, he is revolted at certain episodes he vaguely remembers. These memories are a nightmare. He trembles to think someone might have observed him. As fast as he can, he pushes these memories far inside himself. He hopes they will never see the light of day. He is under constant fear and tension. That makes for more drinking. So this idea that someone might have observed me was really terrifying, right? I really didn't want you to know the truth about me. I really didn't want you to know that I was very scared, that all my friends lost their virginity before me, that I had been robbed many times, that I lied about certain things. I didn't want you to know the real truth about who I was, so I found ways to hide out behind things, to hide out behind hats and cars and people, money, sentiments, ideas, and I worshipped this counterculture, and I started to retreat into the darkness. You know, by the end, I had an apartment where no one was welcome. In other words, people no longer came over. Like, you know, once you have a home invasion robbery and you get hogtied, you start to think that the solution is not to get sober. The solution is to move into an apartment where there's a camera, there's your security, and just have no one come over, right? And so you can picture me staying up for 3 and 4 days at a time. I got like the crossbow and the ball and chain, and I'm just at home. It's just me now, right? There's no more raves. It's just me and Jameson Irish whiskey. You know, I would have a couple other types of alcohol, some 15-year, maybe some 18-year. In my mind, because I had illegal money and because I was able to drink something that was expensive, it would be no way for me to be an alcoholic, right? If I'm going to drink some Louis XIII coming down off a run, it's impossible that I would have alcoholism. And I would sit there by myself and I would drink fine-aged liquors. And I remember I would pick my face a lot. And when you pick your face a lot, it's really embarrassing to leave the house, right? So I would decide that I'm not going to leave until it heals, right? But when you don't eat and you don't sleep, it doesn't heal, right? It just gets worse. And then I think that I need to pick it a little bit to help it heal, right? And then I have a war zone, and the best I can do is go to CVS at 4 o'clock in the morning to go get some foundation to cover up my face because I got to go do something, right? And I might steam my face and get ready to go, and I really want to leave my house. Like I might have like a university midterm or my dad's birthday brunch or, you know, a court date, and I would really want to leave my house, you know, but something happens to me when I'm trying to like leave, you know. I'm really like strongly pulled to my kitchen where all my things are and the light is, and I would really try to leave my house, and I might even get to the door a couple times. There were times when I would get to the car leaving the garage, and I would have to run back up. I always needed a little something, man. I need a sleeping pill to get out of bed, right? Once you get loaded long enough, you start to get a reverse effect from certain substances. You know, I wasn't the type of person that got drunk and jumped up on the bar and was like buying people drinks. I needed a drink just to soothe my nerves, right? Just to be able to be calm. And I'm a flask drinker. I always had a bottle in the trunk of my car, right? I like to get loaded by myself. You know, other people just get in the way, you know, and it got so severe that I started to put my life on the line for the next one, you know. When you got someone to meet and you got to go 120 miles an hour on the freeway to meet them, I started to fall asleep behind the wheel. I started to have overdoses. I started to put my life on the line for the next drink. And I had the inability to see that there was ominous warnings in my life. I had the inability to see that my friends were getting sent to prison. I had the inability to see that I'd almost died several times. In my mind, I'm that connoisseur, that guy that could drink better than all his friends, the guy that could take a better bong load than all his buddies in 9th grade, right? And here I am 10 years later, and there's no buddies. I have customers and I have dealers. And, you know, I cause a lot of harm to my family. I'm kind of like the tornado that runs through people's lives. I'm the one that, you know, goes to treatment centers. I'm the one that goes to correctional facilities. I'm the one that goes to hospital detoxes. And I'm also the one that gets loaded in all those places, right? If there's no alcohol around, I'll learn how to make alcohol. If there's a smoking hut in the detox, I'll find someone to come leave me something there. If I'm in treatment center and there's a door, I'll leave on foot. My first walk, I left a treatment center in Pasadena and I walked like 6 miles in some house shoes and some slippers to go get one. And maybe I'll share with you a little bit, but I ended up becoming what I consider to be a walker. That was my first long distance walk. And I since that time have become, I walk LA marathons and I walk 60 miles. But it's a really interesting thing for me. I think back to my first walk. I was just a little baby boy, scared. I just wanted to hit. Just wanted to hit. I remember I was in a Supermax and someone made some alcohol and they say, "Hey Dave, this might make you blind. Do you want some?" Uh-huh. Can I have some? I always needed something. And so I'm a real alcoholic, right? Genetically, I've been predisposed. Environmentally, I exposed myself chronically to the alcohol and to the drugs for so many years. I stayed loaded from the age of 12 to the age of 24. I never drew a sober breath. And with that kind of consistency, you know, my brain was just, it's been changed for good, right? And I was really grateful to hear that if when I start drinking, I have little control over the amount that I take, or when I try to stop, you know, I find that I can't quit entirely, that I might be an alcoholic. I said, yeah, those are me. I have both of those things. And then there was another line which was really, really, really significant. And it says, if that be the case, then you might be suffering from an illness which only a spiritual experience can conquer. So here I am. I'm a multiple convicted felon. My brain has changed for good. I have dreams about crack cocaine consistently in treatment, just waking up in the middle of the night. All I want to do is wear my dope dealer outfits that I used to wear when people waited for me. I have no character left. I'm like a shell of a man. I'm pale. And it's 2006, September. I get to my last treatment center. And all I wanted to do was go to my storage unit and get my clothes. And I wanted to do the things that worked for me. You know, listen to those couple songs, those couple jams that I used to listen to when things were going good, that make me feel a certain type of way, you know. And all of it stopped working for me. I couldn't put on an outfit. I couldn't play a song that worked anymore. The Marlboro Reds weren't working anymore. I knew deep down at my core that I needed something with some significant power. And something called my name. I really wanted to recover. No, really. I identify as experiencing hopelessness, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm of the hopeless variety. There was always that little voice inside of me. There was always that little piece that knew things could be different. Even after everything I had been through, even after all the firm resolutions, after all the decisions that I made, after all the cases, after everything, I knew there was hope for a guy like me. I got sober in 2006. I had never had a real job. I had 5 felony convictions. I had no college degrees. I had no resume. I was about $80,000 in debt, right? I was the underdog in 2006, right? I had a testing order. I didn't have a lot of people that wanted to come hang out with me. And my first inventory was really like, it was actually kind of pathetic. It was in treatment. I wanted to show my sponsor about all these people that I used to hang out with that didn't come visit me, that didn't send me a magazine, that weren't visiting me in treatment. And but I did it anyways, right? They told me I had to do some kind of inventory in order to level up. And here I was, 24 years old. I got sober just before my 25th birthday. And I I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. I knew that like I had some skills. I knew that once upon a time I had the ability to read. I had the ability to think critically. I always was able to come up with an original thought. You know, I had no idea what my life was going to look like. And you know, if you're new to Alcoholics Anonymous, if you're newly sober, you know, I always tell people that, you know, the way that we envision our lives, you know, it might be a very different ride. You know, if you stay close to your Creator and you stay open and alert to the signals of the universe, the things that present themselves to you in sobriety, connected to God, may be way different than something you had in mind. You know, I had no idea that my life would end up the way it is today. What I did know was that I was interested in something other than I was experiencing. And I'm just super grateful for the men and women that had the courage to come up to the podium and get up here in meetings of AA and carry the original message and speak with conviction and make point-blank declarations about the power of God in their life and carried the original message of AA to me. And they told me that the original message of AA is not the message of staying powerless, insignificant, and insane, and having your self-will run riot. I was told very clearly that if you go through these steps like your life depends on it, and you make all your amends, you can enter the world of spirit where sanity returns, where you become power-filled, where you can actually depend on your thinking again. And it says in the book that our thought life will even be placed on a much higher plane when our thinking is cleared of wrong motives. And I said, hey, I want that message. I want the message of significance, of power, of reunited homes, of inspiration, intuition, spiritual awakening, spiritual experience. And they said it's the original message. It's available to anyone who wants it. The realm of spirit is roomy, broad, and all-inclusive, never exclusive or forbidding to those who earnestly seek. In other words, anyone who wants to be it can be in it. All we got to do is earnestly seek. Now, seeking looks different from one person to the next, right? God could and would if he were sought. Can and will as long as I'm willing to seek. So for me, this is my story, seeking meant going through this book with the sponsor and following all the instructions and doing everything that it said. Being willing to go to any lengths for victory over alcohol. So when it says things like we ask God for his protection and care with complete abandon, guess what I do? I ask God for his protection and care with complete abandon. Right? Look, because I've been putting myself into these equations my whole life. Right? And finally, I was presented with something where, look, Dave, you could take yourself out of the equation and just submit yourself to this process. Right? No wiggle room. That really helped me. Because if there's wiggle room, in other words, if it's going to be my interpretation, a little bit from this book, a little bit from this book, his opinion, the worksheet, I'm going to get really confused. I was really confused in early AA. There was a lot of different messages being carried to me. When I was new, people were coming up here and talking about staying in the now. Right? There was just a lot of different spiritual principles that are worth recognizing, but I wasn't sure what the original message of AA was. And step 12 said that having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message. So I'm like, so what is this message? And I'm so grateful that my mind recovered just enough that I could actually think and focus on a page long enough to use a pen, not a highlighter, but a pen, and start underlining stuff and presenting questions to someone who might be able to clear some of the confusion. I don't know. Here's the deal. I was a nerd when I was a kid, so I got sober. My brain started to heal a little bit, and I tapped back into my inner nerd, right? I got super interested in the literature. And I don't know, for whatever reason, it worked for me. It had a profound impact on my psyche. It entered my brain, it entered my heart, and it entered my life. It truly changed everything about me. And I can say to you tonight that asking someone to take me through this process, the original message, was the most important thing I've ever done in my life. Because here I was, not knowing who I was, who I wasn't, not knowing what the next move was. I was told that if I give this thing 100%, everything else is going to work itself out. And that's been my experience. I literally met this guy regularly, and he didn't tell me who to date, where to work. He didn't like superimpose his will upon me. He was super gentle, and he just shared with me this gift, right? He didn't like try to run my life. He didn't treat me like a inferior. It was just shoulder to shoulder, one alcoholic working with another. And this was the guy that was super calm, super peaceful. It seemed like he had reintegrated back into society. And I really wanted to reintegrate back into society. I didn't want to like hide out in rooms and meetings. I wanted to see what was available for me. And something was calling my name. There was something calling my name on planet Earth. And I was exposed to this work. I had a list of people that I had harmed. And for whatever reason, I was willing to go see all those people. Not like see a couple, like the ones that were convenient, but actually go contact the people that were on my list of people that I had harmed. And I thought that I saw some really cool stuff in inventory. I thought that by writing it out, by praying and taking a look at some things, that I had like these aha moments where I saw the truth about everything. But when I took those aha moments and I sat across the table from someone else and I looked them dead in the eye, they were like, yeah, whatever you saw, that didn't bother me. What really bothered me was when you did this, right? And I actually got to see things from a much bigger perspective. Because see, I'm very self-centered. I think that the way I see it is the predominant view of the world, right? And then here I am, I'm giving other people the opportunity to present the way they see it to me, and I'm humbled, right? There is a difference between selfish, self-centered, and self-seeking as I understand it, and I know that I'm all three of those things, particularly self-seeking. I have a need to place myself in a position of advantage over other people. I have a need to get credit, to seek applause, to try to one-up you. I keep score in my head, you know, and I found out a lot about myself, and through the amends process, I was able to open a channel to my Creator. So when I actually started practicing things like prayer and meditation, I was really confident that it was something that was actually going on. It's funny when people go to treatment centers and stuff, they got like 10 years of drama, and the drug and alcohol counselor says, yeah, you're 5 days sober, meditate, right? It's kind of like, what? You know, like there's so much in the brain. There's so many that, you know, those voices. I had the voice for many years. It's that little voice that says, hey, you're a piece of shit. You know all those people you harm that you haven't talked to? Yeah. Yeah. So the amends process quieted those voices. I had a clear conscience. So when I was able to sit, I could be confident that I was actually getting communication with my Creator, that I was in companionship, that I was in relation to this power. And I started talking a lot about AA because AA changed my life. And by talking about AA, I became an active member of Alcoholics Anonymous because people were interested in hearing about AA, right? I used to come here and talk about me. And I didn't get a lot of sponsees talking about me, right? And I started talking about AA, and people were curious. People were interested. And I had a chance to take people through the book. I had a chance to start speaking at a lot of meetings, and I started to feel like I had a purpose in life. I started to feel whole. I started to feel useful. I started to feel like I could pack something into the stream of life. And that feeling that I got when people were recovering right in front of my face, it wasn't a feeling of me, I did this. It was a feeling of I've tapped into something that's very real. And I don't know what it is, but it's better than what I was doing before. I better hang on to it. And I had a chance to figure out that I could do whatever I wanted. In other words, if God can restore me to sanity, anything is possible. Any goals that I want to create is 100% attainable. Because, you know, I used to cook drugs and get loaded by myself. I was very goal-directed. I was very focused on the task at hand. You know, the dopamine in my brain was 100% wired for the next one. And I was very much 100% into what I was doing. And so when I had a chance to do AA, this way of life, this book, I can tell you for sure that I gave it that same 100%. And what I learned about myself was that I'm someone that can give things 100%. So if I have this circuitry in my brain where I'm a little bit fucked up and I'm a little bit of an addict, I'm an alcoholic, and I'm 100% invested in things, why is it that I can't take that and translate that to certain things that are positive, where I can go be alcoholic about graduate school, right? Where I can actually go back to court, I can go back to school, I can go get my record cleaned up, I can go start working again, I can actually give 100% back into planet Earth. back into humanity, right? So my story is one of getting into health and fitness. The book says when the spiritual malady is overcome, we straighten out mentally and physically. And there's some really strong language in the book that we underline in the workshop. Things like straighten out. No. It says that we straighten out.
To obtain additional copies, receive a free catalog of AA and Al-Anon talks, or to find out about our tape and CD of the Month Club, call Encore Audio Archives at 1-800-878-1308, or visit our website at www.12steptapes.com.
It also says overcome, right? I don't know about you, but I want to overcome a spiritual malady, and I want to straighten out. I want to recover. I want to get to a place where I can use my brain and it be an asset. My brain is not a bad neighborhood. It's not out to get me. It's not out to kill me. I'm 7.5 years plus sober. I've made my amends. I'm invested in this way of life. I don't have impending doom today. My brain is something that I walk with and I've made peace with. And I love that message because it's not popular in AA. The popular message that I hear is that you're crazy and you're insane and that you need to call your sponsor to run everything by them. And I'm just glad that the message that was carried to me challenged that and said, you know what? That's not the original message of AA. People got sober before sponsors. People call God when they need help. And that really resonates with me. I got super into health and fitness when I got sober because that was one thing I had never done. I always wanted to eat a fruit or a vegetable, you know. I present to you with some severe vitamin and mineral deficiencies, you know, and very, very poor health. You know, I didn't get a lot of sunlight for a lot of years, you know. And I used to stand up for like, you know, days at a time. You know, very shaky, very, very, very poor physical health. And like I said, my brain was jacked up, my body was jacked up, my spirit was jacked up. But I started to get to a place where everything was starting to heal, you know. So it wasn't for me, this is my story, it wasn't just Alcoholics Anonymous and recovery, unity, and service. I got into nutrition, exercise, academic enrichment. I started to read other books because like I learned that I can read and underline. Why not go to school, right? I finished an undergraduate degree. I got into a graduate school program after getting rejected several times. I had a lot of self-doubt, you know. I had a long track record of failed attempts at life, of criminal history. For me, being able to climb mountains, I went to climb Mount Whitney at my first year of sobriety. For me to be able to walk LA marathons, it gave me this belief that I can actually achieve difficult things. I can overcome obstacles. And I'll share this. I lost my driver's license at some point in sobriety, maybe in my second year. And I had to walk around a lot for about 6 months. And as I shared with you previously, I had walked from a treatment center to a dope spot. And at around 1 year sober, I did a very long walk with a bunch of martial artists. They took me on a long walk, and it changed my life. And when I was sober 2 years, I started walking a lot. I started walking around for meetings, and I was in school and work. I just walked a lot. I don't know what it is, but it did something for me. It was like the kind of meditation that worked. I'm not the type of person that can sit real quietly with the eyes closed and do meditation that way. But for some reason, when I'm in action, when I'm walking, that spirit flows into me, and I get intuitive thoughts. And so intuitive thoughts come when I'm walking. And I ended up walking a lot, and I got my driver's license back, and I realized that there was some part of my life that was missing. So I started leading what I called meditation walks, you know. And I would invite people from AA, come walk. We're going to walk from Hermosa Pier to the Santa Monica Pier, you know, along the bike path at night. And a lot of people that are here tonight have come with me on those walks. For whatever reason, it represents the demonstration of AA. In other words, it says the spiritual life is not a theory, we have to live it, right? That this is something that we must do, not just talk about. So for me, the walking, it represents a little bit of a discipline. It represents the demonstration that I'm really interested in connecting to this power. I was able to walk marathons, and I don't know what it is, but today I was able to walk for 30 minutes to prepare myself to come share with you tonight. It does something for me. It circulates the blood to my brain, you know. The reason I share that is to encourage you guys to be creative. You know, if there's something that really works for you, give it 100%. Why not? Try something different. I got into a graduate school program. I had to start really slow, 2 classes. You know, I had a job. I was working as a personal trainer. I was a private tutor. You know, I got a job through someone in AA. His sister had a nonprofit, and there was a kid that needed tutoring, and he had prosthetic legs, and he was a burn victim as a child. He had 1 arm. He had 1 arm and prosthetic legs. And here I was at like 2.5 years sober. I was able to homeschool him through 11th and 12th grade. And, you know, I was taught to help alcoholics, right? But the book says that a much more important demonstration of our principles lies before us in our respective homes, occupations, and affairs. The original message actually says that it's much more important what I do outside of AA than what I do in AA. In other words, God has a lot of kids, not just kids that are here. And I need to integrate and interact with all of them. This was a very, very, very impactful experience for me. I got to see this kid graduate from high school. You know, I got a chance to get into this, like I said, graduate school program, and I would review my day, constructively review my day, and I was blown away by the amount of stuff that I got through in one day. I'm telling you, when I was newly sober, it was very, very difficult. It was very strenuous. You know, you have to go to like a meeting, and I could do, like in the course of a day, I could get to 2 meetings, maybe make a couple calls, you know, maybe go to the store, maybe like read a couple pages, but that was it. That was as productive as I could be. And here I was at like 4 and 5 years sober. I would retire at night, and I was like up since 7 a.m. I went to 2 classes. I worked. I went to the gym. I sat with a sponsee. I had dinner with my mom. I got stuff done, and I was blown away by the amount that I could do in the course of one day. And our literature suggests that we become much more efficient, that we're not going to burn up energy foolishly the way that I once was when trying to arrange life to suit myself. So this thing is about becoming effective. It is about becoming efficient. It is about becoming productive. It is about reintegrating back into society. It is about giving life 100%, right? Because I have this thing in me, this fire, right? I need something. And here I am. I feel like my name is being called. I need to chase life the way I used to chase drugs and alcohol. And I killed it in graduate school. I killed it. I mean, I used to sit in the front row and give the professor the same feedback that I would give the speaker in an AA meeting. I'll sit there and be like, uh-huh. I'd be like, come on, right? And because I need them to engage, right? I'm like really interested because I know that if everyone's quiet, it's boring for them. So I'm like, I want to be helpful to the professor. You know, I want to give positive feedback. And I had a chance to like use the skills that I learned in AA from reading and underlining and talking to go make PowerPoint presentations in front of other graduate students. And I did a master's thesis, and I was awarded grant money for my research, you know. And then I went back into court, and I got my record cleaned up, and I was able to do research in a government agency. And then I was able to get into a hospital, and then I was able to get into a school district. And then I was doing all this stuff, you know, clean record, sober 5 and 6 and 7. I found something that I really love to do. I tapped into something deep down that I actually love to do, to where like when I wake up in the morning, I'm super excited about the day, you know? And I had a chance to get back into the nerdiness. I got back into the nerdiness, and I had a chance, multiple convicted felon, had never had a real job, right? And I get to go publish in peer-reviewed. I had a chance to write a chapter in an academic textbook that they use in medical schools, in graduate schools. I got a chance to contribute, not just to AA, not just to do my little workshops and to do my little H&I panels, but to contribute to planet Earth. And that level of satisfaction is so, so deep because it tells me that recovery is real. I was told recovery is either real or it isn't. That if I'm an alcoholic, I got some black and white thinking, right? It says God either is or he isn't. What is my choice to be? And I chose that God is everything. And if God is everything, then I can be restored to sanity. If I can be restored to sanity, then anything is possible. And if anything is possible, any dream can be achieved. So I might as well dream big. I might as well go after life the way I went after everything else. And I've been able to use my dysfunctional brain circuitry at 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning, you know, at the computer. And what I found out to be true is that I want to have functional relationships to things. I don't want to be addicted. I don't want to be addicted to nicotine. I don't want to be addicted to caffeine. I don't want to be addicted to pornography. I don't want to be addicted to highly palatable foods. I want to be able to just be okay, man. Seriously, this is what my spiritual path has looked like, right? I want to be able to just navigate through life and help other addicts, help other alcoholics, reintegrate back into my family. My dad became my hero, you know. I fell in love with my parents. I was the best man at my brother's wedding. You know, I was able to give a talk in front of a lot of people, and you guys walked me through the whole thing. You know, the fellowship that I crave has grown up around me. I can remember really struggling in early sobriety, trying to find my way. It was very strenuous. I didn't know what the original message is. But what I know to be true is that if done effectively and done consistently over periods of time, the journey is from strenuous to effortless. In other words, it's gradually become a working part of my mind. This is not something that I struggle to do, that I'm trying to find my way, right? I don't need to try to fit in with the popular cliques in AA, right? That the fellowship that I crave will grow up around me, that it'll become organic, that it will be a natural part of the progression of life. As long as I stay open and alert to the signals of change and allow myself to continue going through the steps, continue taking inventory. I mean, I read an inventory to Roy a couple weeks ago, you know. I saw some things about myself that I need to see. I saw, one thing that I saw was that I have a dysfunctional relationship to the fellowship, right? That I've gotten so involved in the program that I only like meetings that are based on the big book, right? Because I like things that are highly concentrated. I like things that are highly purified, right? I get upset when things are like watered down, right? But I saw that I am at risk for getting loaded, you know what I mean? Because I need to love all of AA. Our common welfare comes first, right? But then again, there's the other side of the coin, which is like, yeah, I'm busy, dude. I don't need to be hearing about your day, right? And like I said, different things resonate with different people. I'll say that the message in this basic text really hits me deep, you know? And what I know to be true is that it doesn't resonate with all people. It does not. It doesn't appeal to everyone, and everyone's welcome in AA. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. You know, so I've been at fault for giving people the impression that they've done AA wrong if they haven't worked the steps out of the book. And I've seen that stuff in inventory time and time again. So I've made peace with, you know, my alcoholism. I've made peace with my family. I'm making peace with AA. I always tell people when they're struggling, you know, it gets better. You know, what I can say for sure at 7.5 years sober is that I've made a pretty good beginning. I've made a pretty good beginning on this path, you know. I'm still not back to $0. And the kind of damage that I did to my family, I could scarcely square that account in my lifetime. I'll be happy if I can get back to 0 before I die. the way that I ran through people's lives. Countless sleepless nights, trips up north, parents sick, me missing the whole thing, right? So I've scratched the surface with this recovery thing. I've made a pretty solid start. I love the opportunity to share this gift with other people. I love the chance to walk this road shoulder to shoulder with people. You know, I try to do the best that I can when I work with other alcoholics to make it really clear that I'm just another one. I don't roll like that. Just a sponsor is not a spiritual guru, is not a spiritual master. I'm just another alcoholic, and I'll fail you, right? It says to remind the prospect that his recovery is not dependent upon people; it is dependent upon his relationship with God. And so I identify with my crew, and we have recovery that's not sponsor dependent; it's God dependent, right? My self-reliance fails me, and I need to find a way to tap into some power so that I can live. I want to live happy, joyous, and free. I don't want to live in the bedevilments. I want to live in the promises. And there's promises all through the book. It's not just in step 9. There's promises in step 9, 10, 11, 12. And I just want to let you know that I'm claiming all of them. I've gained access to all the promises in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. Every single one of them, they're talking about me. All the promises in the book are talking about me. And I'm claiming every single one. It says we claim spiritual progress rather than spiritual perfection. When I hear that line, I hear we claim spiritual progress, right? So I'm claiming the progress that I've made. And I love encouraging other people to progress. It says we grow in our understanding and effectiveness. Grow or go, right? Thus we grow, and so can you, though you be but one man with this book in your hand. We hope that it contains everything you need to begin. And I think the word beginning is very important because tonight's a new beginning for me. My name is David Wiss. I'm an alcoholic.
Sorry to interrupt your viewing. Taper Dave here. Just wanted to take a second to ask you to like and subscribe to my channel. Let me know if you like what you're listening. I've got some very good talks here, and this one's a great one. Just curious, do you think this is better than Zoom? Tell me what you think. Okay, this is how I prepare my drone for launching. I like to do it inside the cab of my truck so I'm not standing outside in the weather. To install the joysticks for control, up and down, right and left, powered on. I have an Android phone that I use to connect it to the drone with. And it's actually controlled through the iPhone, through an app. Oops, wrong way. It's actually controlled through the iPhone, or through this Android phone, through the app. It's actually controlled through the Android phone, through an app, and you connect it through this short connection right here.
Remote control connected.
Remote control's connected. So I pull out the drone. I have to extend the legs. Long legs extended first, then the short legs. Remove the gimbal protector. Set that aside, then power it on one short burst, then one long burst. I lay it down. So I have to go to calibrate. So the drone's not connected yet. It shows you here as this drone gets disconnected, even though the remote's powered on. So the The drone has been established, it's connected. So I go into the app to calibration mode. First I'll calibrate the remote controller. Start calibration. Out, in, oop, out, in, up, down, and then this little wheel is to control the gimbal. So it's calibrated. Go to gimbal calibration, start calibration, and then it calibrates the gimbal. I don't know if that shows up. The gimbal's moving all over the place. Changes, you can see it on the video. And I'm calibrated to take off. It's acquired 7 satellites at the moment. There are 26 satellites up in the sky, which it has to acquire before you can take off. So it's connected. It's got enough satellites. This is white. I can go to press this little arrow button, swipe right to take off, and it would start the motors if I slid this to the right. But I'll wait till I get outside. Don't want to do it inside.